Good morning. It's Friday. Oh my gosh. I should say it like, oh my gosh, it's Friday. I swear, though, the weeks are going by super fast. Hi, I'm Katie Sevenance, and welcome to Business by Design Online's Success Tips from the Top. This is one of my favorite things to do for this company because we designed this company to support women entrepreneurs in business who maybe your business is kind of stalled out a little, or maybe you've been in business in one direction and you're like, oh my gosh, now I really need to think about doing something different. We want to give you that support and the education and the tools so you can be successful and take that leap. Today, I'm excited to bring you our guest, Penny Axton Kidd. Is that right? Did I do it right? Okay. Because our focus in the month of November is knowing your numbers, whatever that is, whether that is in business or your health numbers, which is something I've been working on, or, all the numbers out there. We want to get you thinking about how you can take control. So let me bring up my guest this morning because we just met about 5 minutes ago online. We haven't met in person. Well, even on Zoom yet. So yay. Penny, thank you so much. And welcome to Business by Design Online. And I'm so glad you are going to share your top tips when it comes to knowing your numbers. And you've got a great background to be able to discuss this. So let's start off right off the bat. What would be your number one tips for success for women in business?
Well, because of what I do, it's all about planning before you spend. That's my number one tip, is have a plan before you do it. Instead of, my favorite quote is to tell your money where to go instead of wonder where it went. And so often,
I have to write that down.
Right? It's a good one. I've seen it attributed to, I heard it first from Dave Ramsey, but I think John Maxwell said it, and he probably stole it from somebody else, right? There's no unique
That's how it works, right?
But, it is fascinating to me how often we get to the end of the month or end of the year or do our taxes and go, where did all that money go? I made a lot of money. So plan to spend before you spend it.
That's really good. And I have never, growing up, that wasn't a big focus for me. And I know some people, they're all about the budget. And that for me, it wasn't. And I made great money. I worked for a cruise line. I was doing all kinds of fun things. And I just spend. And like you said, then all of a sudden it's time to do your taxes. And you're like, I made that much money? And then you're like, where did it go? What did I spend it on? And that's one of the tools. I love my friend Joy, who's one of our partners here. She is so good at the budget, which is why we make such a great team, because she really has helped us see things from a different angle. I think that's really key. Tell your money where to go. Yeah. And not wonder where it went. I think that's awesome. Penny, what is your business? What do you do? Because you are a money person, aren't you?
I am now a money person. So my business is called Pennywise Coaching. So people sometimes think my last name is Wise, but it's not. It's Penny Kidd. And then and I didn't change my name to match my business. It really came out of my name. But I help people plan their spending and learn how to budget. And nobody likes the B word. It's kind of like the diet word. Nobody wants to be on a diet, but we don't want to have a healthy food plan. So really, it's just creating spending plans and deciding where we're going to spend our money and, what to do intentional with our money instead of just going through life and waking up one day, which most of us do in our 40s or 50s and go, oh, how did that happen?
Right.
Where did that last 20 years go? And so I'm actually a social worker by trade. I am not a money nerd. So I had to learn kind of grassroots, learn how to budget and how to be intentional with my money. And what I have since learned is that it's not about math, it's about behavior. And so that's where I really love my background of social work and working with people around all kinds of behavior change. Like money's just one more thing we got to behave with, and learn a skill and practice it over and over again. And it's not rocket science. It's, we probably learned how to do the math in third grade, but how do we then apply it every day to reach our goals? So that's really where where I thrive right now is helping people be intentional with their spending and to reach the goals that they set. Because I don't tell them how to spend their money. I just
Right.
help them, get to that with their own, whether it's make more, spend less, get better
Pay
deals,
off
whatever.
debt, pay college,
Mhm.
whatever. What do you
Mhm.
find is the majority of your clients? Are they, do they fit in a certain category? Are they looking to pay for college, pay for debt, or travel someday?
I would say all of the above, but I guess if I had to pick the most popular, it's people who make a fair amount of money and they don't have a lot of debt. And they just realize that they're burning through a lot of their money paying towards creditors, and
Yeah.
they never feel like they're getting any traction. We get a raise, we spend more, we get a raise, we spend more. And so without a plan, you're not keeping much of what you're making. And
Right.
you know, as business owners, we realize that, oh, I can make more, I can make this much, I can make that much. Yeah, but if you're not keeping any of it, are you really winning the race? And planning for not only, what am I going to spend it on this month, but what do I want to do later on in my life? Do I want to pay for college? Do I want to travel? Do I want to retire? Maybe someday we'd like to not work so much. And
What a thought.
there's a novel idea, right?
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
like, if we don't start planning it now, it isn't going to happen. You don't just wake up one day and have this big bucket of money or win the lottery. I'm sorry.
Isn't it funny? I think people think that it's like, no, I'm going to work, 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 and then I'll have all this money. I can just sit back and relax. But unless you're planning that out, where are you
Yeah.
going to go?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
part of your spending plan today, right? And so looking at them in priorities and like, what's the best use of your dollar? Is it really to pay 24% on a credit card or, whatever?
Yeah.
Is it to have a student loan for 20 plus years? It really is like, okay, what could I do today, maybe do without today so that I reach those other
Yeah.
goals? But I'm
Yes.
not a financial advisor either. I don't do that part. I like to work with them. And when people are in that position to say, okay, now, we've eliminated some of this crazy debt around the house and we've got a little cushion. Now, how are you going to build that long-term wealth so that you can retire? And that's where I like to partner with people that's their expertise, because that's not my skill set. And I don't really want to be that. I
Right.
thought for a lot, people say, oh, you should go be a financial advisor. You're really good with money. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't resonate with me for some reason. I like the emotional behavioral part of this, and not judging and not, it's people have a lot of shame and embarrassment and stuff around their money, and we like to go, put our best foot forward and look like we've got it all together, but sometimes behind the curtain, it's kind of a hot mess. And
Yeah.
I like those.
Yeah.
I like those hot mess. I'm like,
I love
hey,
that. That takes a certain person to be able to guide without judging, like you said,
yeah,
because
yeah,
I'm sure it's just a series of decisions people have
sure.
made over the course of their life without really thinking it through, maybe, or not knowing better, and
Yes,
getting into a
both of
position
those.
where all of a sudden, like you said, one day you wake up and you're like, okay, wait, am I going to be able to retire? Am I going to be able to do the things
Yeah,
I want to do? So that's good. And you help guide them on that journey.
yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
it's not a judgment thing. I think everybody thinks we're going to look down our nose and, oh, you're like an evil person because you have this much debt, or maybe you have a bankruptcy, or you need to, life throws us all curveballs, but a lot of our mess is our own doing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and
Take
so you got to
ownership.
look at both sides of that, and so I'm pretty compassionate about that, but that gentle kind of like, okay, now what? What are the little choices that we can make to turn the ship around?
That's good. I love that. All right, so let's get to some tips this
Okay.
morning on what you think women can do right now to help, because knowing your numbers and being in the middle of a pandemic, which we thought would be over by now,
Right.
it's like, it's one thing to get through a few months, but now it's like, okay, we need to just do things different. So
Mhm.
what kind of tips do you have for us today?
Sure. Well, I think the first one is to create a system, whatever that's going to look like, right? You have to have a system that you can work and that you can sustain. And so, most of your audience are business owners, I'm sure. And so having a system in business is as important as having one at home. I tend to focus more on the home front, but a lot of my clients also have a small business. And, so then we, kind of start at home and then work back to, okay, but how do you know how much you can pay yourself? And many of the business owners that I've met just say, I don't know, I just take out what I need, or I do an owner draw, and they have no clue. And then some other big business expense comes up and they didn't have a plan for it. And so that's where we get in that cycle. So whether it's at home with your, I just put it on the credit card and I pay it off every month. Well, yeah, but then you're always chasing it. You're not really setting a boundary around it. So you need to set some kind of goal so that you have a plan to pay it off, right? So I really love a book called Profit First. I don't know if you've ever read that book, but it really changed my business. I hadn't been in business. I was a social worker for 30 years doing child protection. So I don't know nothing about being in business. And I'm heading into my 8th year now. And I think probably around year 2 or probably 2, 3, maybe, I heard about this book called Profit First. And the author is Mike Michalowicz. And he's funny, and it's not real textbooky, but he helps you create systems with your money, much like, little buckets or small plates, he calls it. So like, if you liken it to a diet, you'll eat less if you eat from a small plate than you do from a big plate. Well, if you put your money, remember to put the taxes aside in a different account. So you don't think, oh, I've got this much money. No, you don't. That part's the government's, and, what about your salary? That goes in a different bucket so that you get paid, because so often people don't remember all the things that their money should go to. And so they just spend it.
Yeah. So it's sitting there. I see it sitting there. So I've got it. Right.
Yeah.
Instead
I
of
have lots of money.
That's supposed to be for this. And that's supposed to be. I like that. And just being able to visualize what bucket it's in, where it is. Oh yeah, that's it. I'm a very visual person too. So
You go, nope, that's my tax bucket. Nope, that's my salary bucket. That doesn't get to go for a new computer or hire a coach or whatever. That's paying penny, right? So one of the that's my second tip is to pay yourself. I know a lot of businesses that are always in build mode and they're always reinvesting in the business. And one of the best pieces of advice that I heard, actually from a dot a long time ago, before I knew I was a dot, was to pay yourself something where you have a hobby.
Exactly.
If you're always just saying, I'll just, I'll pay myself next year. I'm not big enough yet. I'm not profitable enough. Well, Profit First makes you take a percentage off the top, so you are profitable first. And so you're not waiting to be profitable. You're intending you are profitable tomorrow because you take a percentage. And so, and you also set a plan for your salary. And so, I think I started at like $100 a paycheck, and I paid myself when my husband got paid because I was used to getting paid biweekly. And so I set it up so that, instead of being like, well, when I get enough, I'll pay myself, because it doesn't seem like there's ever enough.
See, I agree. I think that's true. Like, right? You always say, well, once I get to this stuff done, I'll pay myself. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this needs to be, I'll reinvest here.
And I better hire her.
Yeah.
So pay yourself something. And then when you're doing this profit,
right?
It doesn't have to be a lot, but then I got a paycheck and yay.
Exactly.
And then the other thing with Profit First is you get a quarterly distribution of your profit. So you've set aside maybe 10% or 5% every paycheck. And then he says, do something fun with it. Don't go put it back in the business. If it may be dinner, it might be a trip to Hawaii. That's your profit. Do something for you as the business owner, because business owners, that's part of why we're in business, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, so that's kind of fun. Like as a government employee, I never got a profit share, nothing, right? I never got a Christmas gift. I didn't, and so it was exciting for me to be like, oh, look, I got a profit this time. And it was $25 or it was $1,000. It could change based on the percentages of how my business was doing.
That's really
But
good. And it gives you an incentive. Those of us who work on
totally
commission type mindsets,
right.
it gives you something to shoot for, right? And
Yep. And it doesn't matter that you have a variable income. And that's what I tell people too on the personal side. You can have a variable income. You just have to plan, okay, this time's little, this time's big. Where's it going to go? And once you can see it, then it's not always this, shot in the head that I didn't expect that. You start
right.
thinking ahead and going, oh yeah, this is going to come up. I better plan for that. My dues,
That's
my,
really good.
car plates, whatever it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that one's always a big one.
Yeah. And then I think my third tip is to get some accountability and support. It's
Ah,
really hard to be a solopreneur or, have a tiny, wherever you're at in your business. But I found that sometimes just talking to my husband he didn't get it. He didn't understand some of the business stuff. So having somebody else that's in business and that can help you with um, helping you stay the course to what you said you were going to do and process things. And so surrounding yourself with amazing other, business people and the right knowledge is huge, I think.
one of the things, I mean, it goes back to that. You are the 5 people you surround yourself with. So if you're working on some goals and you're working on, moving up that space, think about those people to bring into your life. I was just telling you right before we went on that Joy and Phoenix and I, who started this business, it was because we each have totally different personalities. We each ran totally different businesses, but we would mastermind every Monday. It was like our accountability group, checking
Right.
in, what's happening, and bouncing ideas off each other who come from totally different backgrounds, totally different experiences, to be able to then share and support each other. And that, it's funny because that was huge. That's why we started the business, because we felt like coming together, we could share a lot more with other women who,
Right.
as an entrepreneur, like you said, you're very much alone, and your husband can listen to some things. I don't know about everyone else. Mine likes to solve all my problems.
Right.
And sometimes I even say, I just need to share this with you. I don't need you to solve this for me. Thank you for being here. So when it comes to the real ideas and, keep me focused, keep me accountable, that's when I rely on my accountability group. And I think that's really important, especially as an entrepreneur, just to know you're not in it alone and everybody's facing the same type of thing. Sometimes other people can offer a different perspective too.
Yep. Yep.
That's good. I love that. That's awesome. All right. Do you have any others hiding up your sleeve?
Oh, probably, but nothing I prepared. So I never know what's going to come out of my mouth.
I know.
Yeah.
That's how I get too. So tell us about your family. You live in Colorado.
I'm in Colorado. I'm in northern Colorado, so I live in Loveland.
Okay.
I've been up here. I came up to go to school. I grew up in Colorado Springs, so I'm a native.
Okay.
Didn't get very far, so I stayed up in northern Colorado since I was 18. And so I've been married almost 30 years. This next summer will be 30. And we have 2 kids, one 26-year-old daughter that had flown the nest and went to New York City and just came back because of COVID, trying to, I'll just be here for, a few weeks or a month. Yeah. Well, it's been 5 or 6 now. But blessed to be able to give her a soft place to land and, a way to kind of survive this. So, and then I have a son who just graduated from UCCS down in Colorado Springs, University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, in May. And he works down there now, works for my brother's hunting club as a guide at as a pheasant club. So he's got a degree now in marketing. And so he's kind of trying to find his way with doing both of those things. And
don't you think it's cool when you're an entrepreneur, because your kids learn so many values from you? And I'm sure with your background too, it's just to see mom working and how you work with people and how you talk to people. And I have 3 daughters myself, and I feel like they're learning some great experience and they're becoming entrepreneurs themselves. They're getting creative. You were saying, your daughter is getting creative on things you can do. And we're teaching them, you don't have to go traditional. You can learn, you can do your own thing. And
Right.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, she has a degree in technical theater, and she's been working in Broadway and
Mm.
off-Broadway shows and doing costumes and wardrobe, and was just finding her stride. And
Ugh,
then everything shut down in April. So, she loves that life and wants to get back to that. Hey, Janice. But she realizes too that you got to pivot, right? You got to
yeah,
figure
yeah,
out what can
yep.
I do next. And she has a whole lot of skills that I don't think I knew about and that she knew about and that have just kind of come about because of the pandemic. And you're right. She sees that as opportunity to be her own boss,
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, it is an interesting time in our world, but it, I think the sustainability part is to just keep doing it. Just
Well,
keep
you're relying on your
being
other strengths
positive.
that maybe you didn't
Hmm.
see, right? Like you said,
Hmm.
you didn't even know she had these strengths, and
Yep.
I think that's awesome. We have some at Business by Design Online. We have all kinds of online courses. We're developing more all the time, and one that we're featuring right now is our pivoting course. And so it's funny that you said that, and I know that can be a bad word or a great word. And when you
Hmm.
can learn and evaluate yourself, where are you right now? What do you need to do? What needs to happen? And then instead of being scared to take that step, but let's evaluate your skills. Let's evaluate what's happening out there. And then we'll guide you in that next step so that you
Right.
can be confident taking that next step and moving on. So I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, we're all learning new things right now, right?
Yep. Well,
And
and I
we're
think
realizing we're stronger than we thought.
yeah, and you can't pretend that, you got it all figured out. I think that's one of the other, I suppose, tips is to hire people who know more than you know.
Yes. Yeah.
If we don't all know everything, and that's why people come to me to say, I don't understand how to do this or whatever. And
Right.
um and it's okay to acknowledge that and realize that we're not all good at everything.
Yeah.
So
So
let's see.
Deanna is asking, your thoughts on the current loans that are offered to small businesses right now? Ah, depending on where you are, right? I mean,
Right?
take a look at it
If
and
you need it, then I think you should take it if that's what it takes to keep yourself afloat. Some of them are forgiven and we're working on figuring that out and all the, how slow is it taking to get the information to come out. I'm definitely not an expert in that area, but I know that a lot of people, it's what's kept them afloat, you
right.
know. And, I've told a lot of people that right now, the world is experiencing this pandemic, but we all sort of have our own little world or life opportunities that throw us curveballs and have our own pandemic. So I guess it's not a pan anymore. It's whatever personal demic, whatever that word would be, But I like you're blessed if you happen to have lost your job since March. But if that had happened a year ago or a year from now, you're on
Hmm.
your own. And that's
Yeah.
where you need to have your own safety net. And so the government isn't going to come in forever and ever
Swoop
on
you
their
up.
little white horse to, keep throwing money at us. And which is why I want people to get more and more intentional about having some safety net, having less debt, being intentional about the amount of debt they carry because nobody's usually rescuing us,
Right.
and yet all that stuff, we can all get sick, we can all die, we can all, lose a job. So right
Mhm.
now, yes, it's happening on a global scale and a lot, but um, I don't know. I just think we
Yeah.
have to be a little
Yeah.
careful about
And
how
being
much we
smart,
take
just
on.
yeah, and having your plan in place so that you are able to handle some of the situations that may come up. I
Yeah.
love the idea of what you're doing to work with people to, okay, what are your big goals? And then let's figure out a plan to get you on that so that it's not like hit or miss at the end of the month. You're like, wow, did I make money? Did I not? What did I,
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
able to really be clear about that. I think that's good. I think that emergency money that came is great. My advice that I got, make sure it's spent on your business.
Right.
Don't go, yay, I got this money and I'm going to go on a trip. Well,
By
you can't really
choice.
do that,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
make sure it's going to your business and that. But
Well,
yeah,
and to me, debt is debt. Whether if it's a loan and you're expected to pay it back, you got to remember you've got to, and the terms on some of those, I was like, you can have 30 years to pay this back. Do you really want to be paying back on that for 30 years? Do you need it to,
Right.
to put, food on your table or pay your employees? Or is it just something like, oh, I could upgrade my XYZ? To me, I'm pretty conservative when it comes to stuff like that. I don't carry debt anymore. I'm completely debt free. We paid our house off 7 years ago, and we put 2 kids through college without student loans. So I feel like once I got to that place, I don't really want to go back.
I wouldn't either.
You don't really like that anymore.
I'm not at that debt-free place yet, but that sounds so amazing. The day I am.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
And, it didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen because we made a lot of money. It happened because we made choices. And, we had to make some sacrifices, but I still have a really great life, and it's cool, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Which I think helped us weather this storm. The people who had some money, whatever life throws at them, and having an emergency fund
a little more prepared.
Yeah, it's a lot less stressful.
Yeah. So. And those who don't and are finding themselves in a struggle spot, check out our website, because we do have some great courses there that can guide you and help you evaluate. Where are you? What do you need to do right now? What can we help you do right now to pivot in business and make that choice? So I think that's awesome. Like Janice said, choices with a plan. That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Penny. It is so great to connect with you. And I know we are part of a networking organization that we both enjoy as well. So if people want to learn more about you and connecting with you and seeing how maybe your business can help them, what is the best way for them to connect with you?
Probably the easiest way is just on my website, which is pennywisecoaching.com.
WISE, right?
WISE.com. And don't just put Pennywise. That's a whole nother scary clown kind of story.
I was going to say, yeah.
Pennywise Coaching. And then, my contact information is on there, and you can schedule a time with me if you want to schedule a 45-minute session right on my contact me button. And I have a pretty active Facebook page. It's under Pennywise Financial Coaching. And you can always message me through there, or my, personal Penny Accident Kid page. So yeah, I love being really accessible and not having to feel like I'm hiding in the, like I had to pretty much as a caseworker. It feels really different now to have people that I really love to engage with. So yeah, would love to chat with anybody.
Do not have to live near you to work with you, right?
No, actually, I work around the country now, and so it's really, I've been online and doing work from home for several years, so it's not changed me because of the pandemic, but it does allow you. I forget where my clients are actually, because to me, they're just right here.
Small world. I know. It's like, hey, they're right here. Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you live in Wisconsin. I forgot about that. Anybody around the country.
Awesome.
And probably beyond. I haven't had a global client yet, but that's coming, I'm sure. So
yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for sharing this morning, because we really appreciate your perspective and your suggestions on things that we can do to prepare, so that if something tragic happens, or it doesn't even have to be really bad, but just so we're prepared for that, and we know what to do.
Yeah,
I love it.
I think that's the thing. We don't, nobody knows what's coming tomorrow, right? I haven't found my crystal ball yet. So just being prepared really, and that's part of why I got started with my own finances, is because one of my friends was killed in a drunk driving accident right after we were going to try to start getting our money in order, and made me wake up and go, you really don't know. What's coming. So,
wow. Yeah. Let's get prepared before something tragic happens.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
well, Penny, thank you for having me. It's Friday. Yeah, we are going to have a great weekend, aren't we? So thank you for sharing with us today. And I put your link to your website up, so if people want to connect with you further, that is there. And if you want to learn more about Business by Design online, it is businessbydesign.online. And we will chat with you later. Thank you so much. You guys have a great weekend.
Thanks, ladies.
Bye.